Hi, I'm Nell Duke from Stand for Children and the University of Michigan. I am delighted to be able to talk with you about the 2023 updates to the essential instructional practices in early literacy, kindergarten through third grade. In essential instructional practice number 9, in that very opening section, we made a correction by adding the phrase other forms of. And we did this because observation is a form of assessment. So rather than saying observation and assessment, it's better to say observation and other forms of assessment. So we made that change. To the first bullet, we also made some changes, that same change about and other forms of. But we also added a call for observation assessment to not be biased by race, socioeconomic status, or other factors. And we did that based on research that has been published that has found that teachers do show bias. Not all teachers, but some teachers show bias in assessment and observation. Particularly the study that we've added to the endnotes is one in which you can see racial bias in teachers' observation and assessment. So we added that phrase there. We also clarified by request that when we were talking about understanding or assessment and observation and other forms of assessment, being guided by understanding of language and literacy development, that we meant the teacher's language and literacy development. And we were also asked to and added the notion that teachers' understanding of language and literacy development should be continuously developed. And we do think that that's well supported by research on teacher effectiveness and professional learning. We also made changes to the following bullet. In that bullet, we wanted to elaborate on what the observations are supposed to be for in a Tier 1 context. So in a Tier 1 context, the focus of observation should be on informing next steps in instruction. So we clarified that and gave a couple of examples. In the next bullet, again, just more specificity that the assessment should be on specific aspects of literacy development, reading and writing. We also added the very important point that assessments should build on the strengths of each child. And we added a reference here, so you'll see that in the endnotes, to a study that deals with formative assessment in writing. So making sure that, it's very clear that we're talking about writing as well as reading in this particular essential practice. Finally, in the last bullet of this practice, we added some clarity in wording around the purpose of formative and diagnostic tools in Tier 1 instruction, that the primary purpose in Tier 1 would be, again, to identify specific instructional strengths and needs that we can address in our next steps in instruction. I hope this has been a helpful review for all of you. And as always, we want to thank you for all that you're doing to support the literacy development of Michigan's children.